Here to break it all down, Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett, along with Trump attorney Alina Habba is with us again. She was in the courtroom today. Alina, let's talk about the courtroom, what happened today, and then we'll get to the issue of the jury pool that has, let's see, Democratic donors, Clinton donors, and AOC donors, which means that that is a biased jury, in my view. What happened today?
Today, we got a lot of great information that was frankly shocking to me as well as Donald Trump's attorney, but will be incredibly helpful to our case. We heard testimony from Baker yesterday from Elias, who completed his testimony, and basically everybody is finger pointing, which is exactly what you would suspect. Mr. Baker admitted that he is a friend of Michael Sussmann, that he got a text message where Michael Sussmann said, hey, I'm coming to the FBI. I need a meeting. It's very urgent. The urgency, by the way, was that it was October and the election was in November. But I need to come speak to you, not on behalf of my clients or anyone else, for me as a good citizen. Remember, they're friends. He knew he worked for the DNC. He knew he also happened to be Hillary Clinton's campaign general counsel. Never mind that. He has a meeting, no agents, goes ahead, sits down with him, doesn't report it, gets documents which were drafted by Sussmann, hands them over to Peter Strzok, and I'll remind you, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, they're the lovers that were talking about colluding to get Trump out, and there was no way they were going to get him elected. What's worse is today, Sean, we heard the most disturbing part, which is that when the FBI general counsel, Baker, finishes his term at the FBI, has to resign because he's under investigation from the Durham probe, he goes in and says, I need a job, goes to Sussmann and tries to get a job at Perkins Coie. Doesn't get it, then goes to where he is now, Twitter. He's the general counsel of Twitter.
You can't even make this up. All right, let me go to the legal side. The other legal side with Gregg Jarrett. Jury selection is one aspect. I've not been happy. I think that Durham, it's been very slow in getting to the bottom of it. But they actually said this was a conspiracy to bring out an October surprise to help Hillary Clinton win and lie to the American people, and that the FBI knew early. That's what I took out of that, Greg. I don't know if you took the same thing out of it. And that raises the question, why did the head of the FBI sign the first 3 FISA warrants knowing it was a backdoor into the Trump campaign?
Well, there's no question in my mind that James Comey lied and deceived the FISA court. And, you know, that's obviously a crime, defrauding the court. He should have been held in contempt of court by the FISA judges, but he wasn't. Another example of unequal justice, Sean, under the law. What I worry about in this case, because Baker's the star witness against Sussmann, and he blew a hole in the defense. So now Sussmann really has no defense whatsoever, but he can still get an acquittal. How? Because it's Washington, D.C., Sean, where overwhelmingly the registered voters are Democrat. In the last presidential election, 92% voted for Joe Biden, a scant 5% cast ballots for Donald Trump. And sure enough, during jury selection, what did we find of the vast panel of potential jurors? They're all Hillary Clinton supporters, even donors, and they universally loathe Donald Trump, which is exactly why the defense asked the judge to tell the jury, oh, by the way, the defendant was fighting against Donald Trump. So they're worried, Durham's worried about jury nullification. That is to say that jurors will simply ignore the evidence, the facts, and the law and perversely acquit an innocent person. They have unfettered power to enjoy jury nullification. They've done it before in Washington, D.C.
This is so sad, and the media ignoring this. This dragged the entire country through hell for 3 long years. Donald Trump was unfairly accused by the Democrats, by the media mob. They lied, they distorted, they spread a hoax and a conspiracy theory at a level I never thought could happen in this country. And it is sad. It is the biggest corruption, abuse of power scandal in our history. And we'll be like the only show, maybe 1 or 2 others here on Fox that even touch it. And we're not going to let go, because the American people need to know how corrupt that election was, just like hiding Hunter Biden's laptop in 2020, how corrupt that was as well. Alina, thank you. We'll keep updating this audience. Yeah, you want to add one thing? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that if it was me that went into the FBI as Donald Trump's attorney and said, I have information, but it's not on behalf of my client, who would believe me? That's what happened. And then there was an investigation and FISA warrants.
For a job.
Eric Trump, Donald Trump, Ivanka. We'd all be in jail. That would be what would happen.
Wouldn't even be close. We do not have equal justice under the law in this country anymore. We don't have equal application of our laws anymore in this country. You know, the great one, Mark Levin's coming up. He calls this a post-constitutional America, and he's not wrong. Thank you both.